The United States dollar is losing its dominance. If you are sitting on US dollars in your bank account, which is exactly what the US government wants, you are losing more than anyone else. Keep in mind, the US government prints as much money as they want to. Case in point example, inflation. Some economists could argue that some inflation is healthy, but surely not at the rate that we've been progressing recently. I mean, when you walk into the grocery store and you're paying 2, 3, 4 times the cost for something like eggs, do you wonder, where did we go wrong? Maybe it was our elected officials? Partially, but this problem runs much deeper. My name is Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and I'm going to really try to illustrate to you today how to make some moves and basically hedge your holdings against inflation, make some money, and above all, just do not sit idly by on the sidelines while the US government, or maybe your own government, because I'm using US as the example here, the United States of America, but many other governments are doing the exact same things. Just replace their name and their currency with probably your own. A poor citizen is a good citizen to them. Why? Because you're more focused on your 9 to 5 making ends meet than doing anything else. And someone who's that preoccupied and really going hand to mouth has no time for really anything that could be disruptive. Be a good little citizen, huh? Yeah, well, stick with me. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and I'm gonna try to liberate you before they silence me. There's a lot that goes into all of this, and let's just look at a couple things, right? We look at the dollar milkshake theory. Looking at the dollar milkshake theory, here's the gist of it.
A giant milkshake of liquidity has been created by global central banks, with the dollar as its key ingredient. But if the dollar moves higher, this milkshake will be sucked into the US, creating a vicious spiral that could quickly destabilize financial markets.
If the level of the dollar moves too quickly, and particularly if the level rises too fast, then problems start popping up all over the place. And that's why everyone should have a plan for a rapidly rising dollar. It doesn't need to be a base case, but it never hurts to be prepared. Today, however, many people are convinced that both the role of the dollar is diminishing and that the level of the dollar will only decline. If there is relatively less economic activity elsewhere in the world, then there are fewer dollars in global circulation for others to use in their daily business. And so the vortex begins, or as we like to say, the dollar milkshake.
Basically, we are living in kind of unprecedented times, and things aren't really getting better, and it seems like a lot of poor choices are finally catching up with themselves. Just put this into perspective, right? Every year, just take any government, but especially the United States government, goes into additional trillions of dollars of debt. And we look to them for advice. Now that's just kind of ironic. They make you pay taxes, but they know what you're supposed to earn most likely, yet they make you figure it out. To the point that there's billion-dollar companies that all they do is literally just try to help you keep up with the ever-changing tax code. For example, TurboTax, H&R Block, among many others. That's fresh in my mind because I just suffered through my taxes, where they take a large percentage of my money and they do nothing. But I'm the one going out there learning, making moves, right? And if I get blown up and I have a huge loss, depending on the way the tax code works, I won't even be able to write off that full loss. But they always get a piece of the winnings, yet they never want to reimburse me for the L's. It's like they're a bully. That's what it comes down to. Because by the way, don't pay your taxes, you're going to jail, buddy. The United States of America's dollar, the US dollar, really fell off its decent trajectory when they moved away from the gold standard. There is nothing backing the US dollar other than reputation. And is the US's reputation really that great? That's another day, another subject. And don't get me wrong, right? You may not know me. Again, I said, hey, yo, what's up? My name's Vosk. Look, I'm an American, right? I'm proud of some things like my right to bear arms. among many others. But at what point do I get fed up with the current state of things, like the fact that the US government continues to attack and attack and attack cryptocurrency, and yet the SEC's, the Securities Exchange Commission's head, leader, face, Gary Gensler, who looks like Mr. Smithers from The Simpsons, right? And that guy's got a great reputation in there, huh? Yeah, so he looks like him and he acts like him. He was supposed to protect us, and yet he's, whining and dining and hanging out and making out with Sam Bankman-Fried, right? And he led a huge scam. The SEC doesn't protect us from anything except for gains. And when things do go bad, no one steps in to help. There's no government hand. There's no bailout. Not for the little guys. Oh, it's too bad. You shouldn't be in that sector. Huh. Well, you guys are real quick to bail out major companies like US banks, which operate on a fractional reserve. Do you know what that means? The fractional reserve means that they can lend money that they don't have. Imagine if I could do that. So when the banks lend you money, they're lending you money that they don't even necessarily have. They don't have full reserves sitting in their banks, right? And that they want to target things like stablecoins and cryptocurrency. Do you understand that these cryptocurrencies oftentimes have full reserves and a lot of backings, which has been under a lot of scrutiny, which is good. Let's see the money, honey.
No money, no funny bunny, honey.
But seriously here, the banks are built on a business where they don't even have the money that they're throwing around. What a great business to have. And the Federal Reserve, in bed with the US government, just lets that happen. And just, take a step back, right? And think about this. You go out there, and if you don't have the money for it, you don't get it, right? You go out there, you make money, and you gotta pay some to the government. Okay, so, and I understand the government, it exists to provide some resources, and we maintain the biggest military in the world by extremely far and have bases throughout the world, and we fight other people's wars. Look, I mean, if you know anything about me, right, you know that if you're in the military, we're probably boys. We're probably friends. But the actual spending here, from a government point of view, is ludicrous. And I gotta foot the bill. I don't even like that rapper.
Don't do that to me right now. I cannot take that right. Come on, Ray. Do it.
When you fall on hard times, there's no one coming to help you or save you. When the government falls on hard times that they probably are manufacturing themselves, they print more money. When they have a killer year, well, they never do because they always operate in a deficit, you don't get any of that. But when you have a killer year, you pay them money and you go up in tax brackets. Just think about that. The better you do, the more they want. Why wouldn't it just be a flat percent? Like everybody just pays a 20% income tax. It's ridiculous that the more you make, the more they take. It de-incentivizes working hard or building a business or chasing that upside. And I mean, there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, but I can tell you for someone operating a business that okay, yeah, you can eat the lion's share sometimes, but wow, you not only eat the lion's share of earnings, you eat the lion's share of stress, duties, obligations, and I'm calling it right now, right here, I will die of cardiac arrest, and it won't be all that far away. I'm not trying to speak it into existence. Your boy's been stressed out, and I've been operating under a heavy level of stress for a long time. And the world that exists, well, it's just really not all that helpful. Ultimately, the US dollar is less valuable than it's ever been. That's kind of what they refer to as inflation, but it runs a bit deeper. I mean, just 20 years ago in the United States, you take your salary and you compare it to buying a car, or even more so buying a house. Percentage-wise, they were so much more in line. Now, house prices are just skyrocketing. Materials are sky high, labor is high. I mean, everything is so expensive, right? I mean, just go on any website where you've ordered from over the past few years. Amazon's normally a great example. I go on Amazon, I look at my order history, and a lot of these listings are still active. So I'm like, oh, let me see what I bought this for 3 years ago. Sometimes these prices have tripled. It's insane. But even more so, always think of things as a percentage. It doesn't matter if it goes up $1, right? Versus $10 if the increase is, say, a $1 increase on a $3 item, as opposed to a $10 increase on a $300 item. Everybody was all hyped for their little stimmies, but what did that do? That opened the door for all this stuff getting pushed through, right? And the more the government spends, the more that they print. You see all the memes, money printer go brrr, and it's exactly the case. And I'm not trying to let my bias bleed into this too much. Like VoskCoin, you're on a VoskCoin YouTube channel. The focus here is really cryptocurrency, right? And largely a lot of these are due to, many of them have proven to be great investment opportunities historically, right? But you look at I'm sitting in dollars, and year over year, I'm losing all my buying power. You sit in any cryptocurrency, right? And I'll just take number one here, Bitcoin, for example. You sit in Bitcoin year over year, your buying power is up, possibly astronomically, right? You look at $10,000 10 years ago, right? Probably worth 50% more, which is absolutely ludicrous. Luda, what you doing back here, man? Right, I'm like joking, but I'm serious, right? So you look at that, and if you look at Bitcoin 10 years ago, its price value versus today, very different. You're like, oh, I missed the boat, this, that, whatever. Well, here's the deal. What's cool about Bitcoin is it's transparent. It's a blockchain. We can see what exists, what happens, and there's supposed to be a 21 million cap on the coins. How many dollars are in circulation? Nobody knows. I don't even think the government knows. They just print it and they just let it go. No. Bad government, bad. All you're doing is hurting the citizens. That's what some of just the plebs don't realize. Most of these deals and situations, some may be dressed up and look good, like, oh yeah, we'll give you this stim check, but we're also gonna print a couple trillion for ourselves. Wake up, they're using you. The resolution of this situation in this video is not as simple as just buying Bitcoin and everything's fine. All right, one thing I'm terrified of is the US government just prints and prints and prints and prints, and they just start buying all the Bitcoin. They got a cheat code. They are the unlimited money glitch. They hit left down, right up, left down, right up, left down, right up, and they have every weapon possible in the books, quite literally as well as figuratively. I don't have that, and you actually, I'm pretty sure unless you're the US government, you don't have that either. Really, all we can do is band together and campaign for transparency and policies that help the average person, or at least the average person working hard. The tragedy commons of the well, right? If everybody gets it, everybody abuses it. There are so many complex problems at play, not something that we can hash out in just a short YouTube video. Above all, I just want to talk about these things, bring some of these things to light, because hopefully by the end of this video, you learned something that you didn't know, or maybe we can even just get a conversation and dialogue going. Obviously, I'm here on YouTube. I'm on social media as well. Twitter is a great place to campaign for these kind of things and put some thoughts, into writing, right? Connect with me, connect with the other incredible people in the VoskCoin community. And, seriously, we got to do something, because things are bad and they're getting worse. That's all I got. I'll see you on the next one. We got to make a change. We got to make it happen. We got to make a play. Someone's got to save us.